Again, welcome everyone this evening. For those who are unaware, we were in executive session earlier this evening, so we are technically within, the meeting has been called to order. However, as we've had a bit of a break here between our executive session and the beginning of the public meeting, I'd like to ask the town clerk, Miranda, if you just call the roll again, just to ensure that everyone is back from their dinner breaks.
Absolutely. Trustee Apt.
Yeah, here.
Trustee Coombs Ismail. Mayor Larson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
Here.
Trustee Taylor.
Here.
Trustee Corvallin.
Here.
And please note for the record that Trustee Danforth is absent.
All right, thank you, Miranda. And thank you to everyone who's joined us this evening for the meeting, meeting the Nederland Board of Trustees. We've got two items on consent agenda, the warrants and the meeting minutes from the previous meeting. Any trustees have comments, questions, or emotion regarding the consent agenda?
This is Trustee Taylor.
To approve.
So I just want to make a mention that if you're attending the meeting, please mute yourself because otherwise we can hear your feedback.
Trustee Taylor, was that you making a motion?
Oh, it was actually someone else making the motion, although I'll make a motion now. So I move to approve the consent agenda.
And I'll second it.
There we go. Trustee Coombs Ismail with the second. Thank you.
Trustee Coombs Ismail.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Apt.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin. Mayor Larson.
Yes. Moving right along into public comment on non-agenda items. So if anyone from the public would like to speak for up to 3 minutes on something we do not have on the agenda this evening, now would be your opportunity. Simply raise your hand, turn on your video, wave, dance a jig, sing the sea shanties that have taken over the internet for the last couple of weeks. Somehow catch my attention and you can have 3 minutes. Not seeing any, we will move on to our evening. Of which we have two, beginning with a resolution to approve the Second Amendment to the Development Improvements Agreement for Caribou Ridge. Is this one being introduced by Miranda or Karen?
Mayor, this is
Actually by
Jennifer
Jennifer.
Madsen.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I'll
Jennifer.
actually introduce this item.
Very good.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, members of the public, Jennifer Madsen, town attorney. And the reason that we are here tonight is on a resolution 2021-02 to approve a second amendment to a development improvements agreement for the Caribou Ridge development. Just briefly, the reason for that this is an action item here before you tonight, members of the board, is that it does require a signature on the Second Amendment Development Improvements Agreement by the mayor. And so as members of the Board of Trustees, you would need to approve the mayor's signature on this Development Improvements Agreement. This is an improvements agreement for construction of certain public improvements related to the Caribou Ridge development. The development improvement agreement was originally entered into in March of 2018. There was one previous extension that was entered into last year at approximately March of 2020. I understand that the developer has been making significant progress in terms of completing the public improvements for the development and was well on their way to completing all of the improvements except for delays related to COVID. So the last item of public improvements that has not yet been completed is the installation of a fence around the water storage tank. The development improvement agreement allows for extensions related to unforeseen circumstances, including epidemics. So here we are tonight with the COVID pandemic, and the developer has requested an additional extension to allow for completion of all of these improvements. Again, the last one being the installation of the fence around the water storage tank. You've got in your packet the draft of the second amendment to the development improvement agreement, and then the resolution, which would allow the mayor to sign that. I understand that a representative from Cornerstone Homes Caribou Ridge is in attendance. Should any members of the Board of Trustees have any questions?
Thank you, Jennifer. I think we all understand COVID delays and modifications at this point. Go down and see if there are any questions or comments from the Board of Trustees. Trustee Apt?
No questions.
Trustee Coombs Ismail?
I had a question for Attorney Madsen, just so I understand what is at stake here. If we do not approve this extension, what would happen?
There is a, I understand that there's a, the town has money, I believe, that is being held, and that town can call on that money in terms of then completing the improvements. I mean, the improvements need to be completed. So either the developer does it or the town calls on the money in terms of the escrow, or I'm not exactly sure what it is under this particular agreement.
It's actually a surety bond.
Okay, thank you, Karen.
Sure.
And so then the town could complete the improvements through the use of that surety bond. So it's to the benefit to the town to allow the developers some additional time to make these to complete the construction.
Right, and then my other question would be, I suppose for the developer, I mean, you know, I assume this has caused delays in other construction in the development. I've seen, you know, houses being built and going up for sale on Caribou Ridge, and so I'm just curious as to whether this was just put off as a kind of a secondary priority, or if this, you know, is in fact, you know, a general delay in construction on that development.
And I'll let the developer's representative speak to that question.
Yes, good evening. And Board of Trustees is Monica Dinges, and I work with Caribou Ridge Cornerstone Homes, and I have actually been working on the utility maintenance action items that we're reviewing tonight with Chris Pelletier all summer long. So we were able to complete the 2 maintenance items because we had our own sub that was working on those to dig up the sanitary sewer manholes and the water valves and GPS those. And so we didn't really need as much materials for that work as we needed labor. And it took literally down to the wire all year because our subs were delayed. So there were delays, but we were able to finish that work. The last bit of item was the fence, and the material shortages is what caused the delay. We were working with 2 subs, fencing contractors, plus we actually solicited more bids to try to get other Denver fencing companies to come out, and like trying to get them to come out to Denver. It seemed like everyone was installing fences. There's a lot of construction work, so the material shortages and not being able to get on the schedule is what prompted the delay. And we were in communication the entire time with the Public Works Director about the work throughout the whole year and what was going on with the schedule. Now, so that delayed our work on on just the fence item that we were not able to complete. However, we were also had delays on the home construction side as well. So this isn't something just specific to the fence. There's material shortages in timber and everything that's going on. And it just depends what the material is and what the shortages are. So if that helps to answer the question.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, just the history of this DIA and the extensions that have been given in the past suggests sort of a history of not prioritizing these improvements. And I just hope that this will be the absolute final time that an extension is requested for this. Just because you know, it was supposed to be done before the pandemic even hit. And so in that sense, COVID doesn't really work for me as an excuse, but I understand that now that we're in the situation, there's not much we can do.
And I understand. And to address that a little further, we are on the schedule with 2 fencing companies as a priority as soon as the ground is thawed to install. So we actually got on the schedule in November, December to be put on the spring schedule. So it's not like we're starting from scratch in the spring.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you, Eric. Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
I have no questions, but seeing that we have a quorum here, I was actually going to recuse myself from this vote, and being that I'm a subcontractor and do work on that development. So just a conflict of interest, I believe.
Thank you for the reminder on that. I know you've mentioned that in the past, and I'd already forgotten about it. So thank you. Trustee Taylor.
I read through the documentation. It seemed quite thorough, and I have no objections.
All right. Trustee Corvallin.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as Eric for just from reading it and saying, wow, this was supposed to be done 2019. Seems like it's not being made a priority. Certainly not going to deny the extension because it needs to get done, but it does seem a little bit like, you know, you've been selling houses, people have been living there for years now. Why wasn't it done in 2019? But that's all.
All right. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, I think you know, nothing to say other than what the trustees have said. I think we understand COVID, but have concerns on the ongoing nature of this. So I think it's safe to say that this would probably be the last extension. So I know this one goes through, I believe it's September 30th of 2021 that fence gets completed. So I really hope that it does by then. This is an action item, so I want to throw it open to the floor for public comment on this. If anyone from the public would like to comment, now would be your chance. As always, catch my attention in some way, raise your hand, speak up. Seeing and hearing no one, I will bring it back to the board for any final comments, or if any trustee would like to make one of the motions suggested on the screen.
This is Trustee Taylor. I move that we approve resolution and second amendment to DIA. I move to
second.
approve. I'm going to go ahead and finish it just because it's written there. I move to approve resolution 2021-02, approving the second amendment to development improvements agreement with Cornerstone Homes.
This is Alan, I second.
I apologize for messing up that reading.
All right, we got there in the end. We have a motion and the second on the table. Miranda?
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Apt,
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Yes.
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover is recusing himself.
Correct. And so the motion passes. Motion to amend. All right. Thank you, representatives of Cornerstone who joined us this evening. Thanks for joining us and answering the questions we had for you. I look forward to seeing the completed work.
Thank you so much. Appreciate everything.
Moving on, we get to have a fun one here. We get to swear in our town treasurer, Rita Six.
And I don't mind introducing this
I was
item.
going to ask you to do so, please.
Yes, it's such a pleasure to do this tonight. I don't really have to give too many details. You all have had the pleasure of working with Rita since she started with us in August. She was hired as a town accountant with the expectation that within 6 months, she'd be able to step into the town treasurer position, which she is doing tonight. Fully prepared to take on this position, fully aware of the responsibilities of the position. And she's proven herself to be quite capable. She's also an absolute delight to work with. As you all know, during the preparing of the 2021 budget and then presenting it, and in that time, she was also learning how to put the financial reports together and present to the Board of Trustees. She was also developing relationships with the department heads and people in the community, working with the DDA. She has a vast amount of experience, and that has certainly revealed itself as she's taking on some of these new tasks, and she's just done an outstanding job. So it's my complete pleasure to present to you tonight Rita Six as she takes on the town treasurer's oath. And I will turn it over to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you, Rita. You know, really thank you so much for the work you've done on the budget this year and moving forward on that. This is action item. So any trustees, I'm just going to throw this open to you. Trustees have questions for our potential new, or the swearing in of our new town treasurer? Go in reverse order. Tanya, do you have any questions, comments?
No, I don't.
All right. Trustee Taylor.
All looks fine to me.
Jonathan.
No questions. Congrats on officially being sworn in.
Eric.
Congratulations and thanks for serving our town.
Alan.
Yeah, welcome Rita into a different position, and thanks for being willing to help us out.
Indeed. Thank you, Rita. Before we go into the oath, it's an action item, so we'll check all the boxes here. If anyone from the public would like to speak on this item regarding swearing in our new town treasurer. Not hearing or seeing. Rita, is there anything you'd like to say before we read the oath?
No, I'm pretty excited to have gotten this far. So, question for you. Can you guys see me?
We can.
Okay, because I'm not seeing anything right now. Well, good. And you can obviously hear me, so that's good.
Those are.
So I'm excited to be here. And yes, looking forward to what's coming.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to working with you in the future and continuing. And as we can see and hear you, those are kind of prerequisites for this next step. So if you would please repeat after me. I, Rita Six, do solemnly affirm.
I, Rita Six, do solemnly affirm.
That I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado.
The Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado.
And the ordinances of the town of Nederland.
Ordinances of the town of Nederland.
And that I will faithfully and to the best of my skill and ability.
And that I will and to the best of my skill and ability.
Perform the duties of the office of town treasurer.
Perform the duties of the office of town treasurer.
Of the town of Nederland, upon which I am about to enter.
For the town of Nederland, upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations and welcome as our town treasurer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Yay.
This is a lot more.
Yay!
This is a lot more fun to do in person, where we can now all applaud and make a bigger deal of it. But
I'm sure
everyone's at home applauding in their quiet living rooms. So thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes the action items for this evening, and we have one discussion item on the agenda, which is with regards to a report from our town attorney. So I'm going to hand this over to our town attorney, Jennifer, to introduce the discussion item.
All right, congratulations, Rita, on taking the oath for town treasurer.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, members of the public. I'm here again to provide an update to you on ongoing litigation related to Stinton Some Our Home versus Town of Nederland. This is a quiet title action related to property that is located in the Old Town area. It's south of West Spring Street and north of West Breed Street. It is known as South Johnson Street. The property was identified as right-of-way on a 1908 plat map. And in the quiet title action, the plaintiffs, who are adjacent property owners, have taken the position that they are the property owners of this South Johnson Street. As you know, the town has defended the case, and its position is that the town is the owner of this right-of-way. Last month, the parties attended a mediation. Plaintiffs have agreed to dismiss the quiet title lawsuit without prejudice. The town must agree to that dismissal in order for it to be effective. The dismissal is not an admission by any party, and with the dismissal of the lawsuit, plaintiffs may, if they decide, they may submit a request for vacation of this piece of property under the disposal of public lands policy. So if the Board of Trustees would like to agree to a dismissal of the lawsuit without prejudice, then the board should move this item to an action item and a motion made to approve.
Thank you, Jennifer. And also, I just want to publicly thank Jennifer, our town administrator Karen, and also Mayor Pro Tem Baumhofer, who have been handling the mediation efforts for the town over the last couple months and have done an incredible job and put in a lot of hours. So I just want to publicly thank you guys for all the work you've put in on this. Do we have any trustees who would like to comment on this or make a motion to move this to an action item?
I'll make a motion to move it to an action item if there's no comments.
This is Trustee Taylor. I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Miranda, if you would please call the vote on this motion.
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Apt,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhofer,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin,
Sorry.
Trustee Corvallin?
Yeah, right here. Sorry. Yes.
Okay, Trustee Coombs Ismail.
Yes.
All right, that's a unanimous vote. So this is now an action item regarding the town's decision to agree to the results of mediation and agree to the dismissal of the quiet title lawsuit without prejudice. Trustees, if you'd like to comment on this, I'll just give everyone a chance to comment or make any questions for town staff before going to public comment. And we'll begin with Mayor Pro Tem Baumhofer.
No comment. Just I think that the outcome that we've reached in the mediation is the win-win situation right now and the best possible outcome we could. So.
Okay. Trustee Coombs Ismail.
No questions.
Trustee Taylor.
No questions.
Trustee Corvallin.
No questions.
Trustee Apt.
No questions, no comments.
All right. Thank you all very much. I will open the floor up to any public comment on this decision by the board. If anyone would like to speak on this, now would be your opportunity. And not seeing or hearing any, so I'll bring it back to the board. and look for a member to make a motion regarding the results of the mediation.
This is Baumhover. I move to approve the filing of a stipulation for dismissal without prejudice in the case titled Stinton, Some R Homes versus Town of Nederland in the Boulder County District Court, and direct the town attorney to sign the appropriate paperwork.
Trustee Coombs Ismail, I second.
I have a motion and a second. Miranda?
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Apt,
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you guys again for all the work you've done on this, and next steps. We are now 27 minutes into our meeting this evening, and we have reached the end of the agenda. Congratulations, everyone. Does anyone on the board have any other business they'd like to bring up? Try to get us past the half-hour mark?
This is Trustee Taylor. I actually do have a question for Karen Garrity. Karen, I spoke with a person who received a questionnaire relating to our wayfaring work, and that person was under the impression that the survey was only for businesses. And I was just curious, is that survey directed to businesses and citizens as well?
You know, that's actually a survey being conducted by the DDA. So I'm assuming they're trying to reach their members in the district.
I see. Got it.
That's just my assumption.
Trustee Taylor, I could confirm, I spoke with Claudia today, Claudia Schaffler, who's on the NDDA board. She did confirm that they are looking for citizens' comments who live within the district. So hopefully the person who received that is a part of the DDA district.
All right. So any citizen within the DDA district should see themselves as the target of that survey.
Yes, so currently there's a request to be, on a committee if you are a business member, and then there is expectation that either this week or next week, they'll do more of like a public blast to get citizens' feedback as well, since it seems like that's just trickling in right now.
Very fine. That's the answer to my question. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
I did have one thing, and it was just a congratulations to Jesse Ansari, Nikki Dunn, Ariel Gustafson, and Miranda Fisher on the major revisions that they took to the GOCO grant, and that was submitted just recently. So thank you guys for that.
Fingers crossed. Can't wait to hear that we've won it. I do have one quick thing I just want to put on people's agenda. I'm actually going to be sending out more information on this. I just heard about it yesterday in my monthly conversation with Congressman Neguse. He is calling the first ever, a wildfire summit for mountain communities. It's going to be him, Governor Polis, and both Senators Hickenlooper and Bennett on February 18th at noon to 1 p.m. There'll be later stuff in the day that is not open to the public, but noon to 1 p.m. is a public wildfire summit. And I'm going to be sending out the information. I just got it from Congressman Neguse. I'll be passing this on to the trustees as well as members of the community who might be interested in dialing in on this, on what the topics are in the agenda coming. But I just wanted to get it on there. Anyone who's interested in wildfire, that's a big one that Neguse has pulled together for us here in a couple weeks' time. So February 18th, noon to 1 p.m., and I'll post the registration link here and send it around if anyone's interested. Anyone else? Or we could be looking for a meeting adjournment at 8 p.m.
This is Trustee Taylor. I move that we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Miranda.
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Apt,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin, Trustee Coombs Ismail.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 8:01 p.m.
Might be a record.
This might be a record, you guys. Thank you all so much.
Unbelievable.
Everybody have a good evening.
You guys all enjoy the evening you have before you, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.